see what I can give you to give you at least.
Good evening. I'd like to call the June 23rd, 2025 Borough Council meeting to order. Will the clerk please read the open public meeting statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, specifying the time, date, and location by posting a copy of the notice on the municipal building, municipal website, providing a copy of the annual notice schedule to the official newspapers of the borough, and is on file in the clerk's office.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Here.
Councilman Collins.
Here.
Councilman Manco.
Here.
Councilman Poznanski.
Here.
Councilwoman Payne. Here. Councilman Potter.
Here.
Mayor Murray.
Present.
Borough Attorney Vignolo.
Present.
Borough Engineer Mike McClellan.
Present.
Borough Engineer Luke Plaskanka.
Present.
Borough Administrator Fred Carr.
Present.
And I am here.
Will everyone please stand for a moment of silence, which will be followed by the salute to the flag. All right, first on the agenda, we have a presentation by On-Site Partners for the battery storage project. Mr. Clancy, please.
Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm excited to talk about the battery storage system. Just have a quick project overview for recapping why the project is being produced and why we need it here, and then a bit on safety standards, and hopefully that opens the floor for questions. But you can ask questions anytime that we're going through. So I'm ready for the next slide. So project overview, again, the grid charges are the reason that a project like this is valuable. Today was one of the high price grid charge hours, so we'll go into, when we look at boroughs like this, typically a third of the power bill is based on the electricity flowing through and serving the customers, and the other 2/3 is based on the infrastructure that is in place and recovering that infrastructure, both the capacity, the transmission, which is the big transmission lines, and then the capacity power plants to produce the electricity. You can see the price graphs, but capacity on the left has shot up over $100,000 per megawatt per year, and transmission has had a steady growth all the way up to $180,000 per megawatt per year in this region of the country. Those cost components are fluctuating, but they are not something that you can shop or find an alternative supplier for. They are
Or hedge against.
or hedge against, right?
Is it, in understanding the process, or just what I want to understand is, the same way my house unit, air conditioning unit, is taxed to its extremes in this temperature, it's your data cooling centers and the whole powering process that has kind of exacerbated the issue of supply anyway, that goes up in this situation as well, right?
I would say that that's what we're seeing here. I think this today is one of the first times in maybe the last 5 years that the load has been as high as it is, and it continues that pressure on supply and demand that you see in the left curve there for the capacity available to serve the load.
Relatively early in the year for this type of temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
It is mighty hot too. But yes, cooling's a big thing in the summer. I think that's it on slide 2. Any questions on slide 2 and the cost of the grid power? Sorry, I'm turning away from this side. And then how can batteries help? So the key takeaway here is that the way that boroughs like Milltown are charged for electricity is based on the 5 peak hours of the year, the hottest hour on the 5 peak days of the year, and the same way for transmission. And so a battery project can help by operating and storing up some of the energy when it's not a peak hour, and then dispatching the battery to serve the town's grid during those 5 peak hours for the transmission system and 5 peak hours for the capacity grid. So that's kind of I know we went over this in September, but just wanted to go back over why the battery project and how can it actually produce value in this situation.
How do you determine the 5 best days
to gather the energy? How do you, I mean, do you go before someone studies temperature well ahead of time? Because I studied 10 days ahead, but you guys would be months ahead.
Yeah, well, we're definitely keeping an eye on this week in particular, and watching each day and week. And then we had, this morning, there were stand-up meetings where people were talking about what they were seeing on the grid.
Sure.
Was it actually happening the way that the forecast showed? What was going on with weather? Was there rain events coming across that might move that an hour? And PJM themselves offer a great amount of load forecasting information. And then a lot of it after that is experience. We're getting AI involved in the choosing and helping us choose what the competitive game theory and what might happen with other people's resources. So it is evolving, and we're always on it. We have a whole team that is really just dedicated to making sure they know when to operate the battery.
Well, I know you're dealing with lithium ion right now, but I know that sodium ion is also on the horizon, and it can slip into where the battery packs, I guess, would be. Is that something that could be a progression for like a situation that we have? Or, I mean, it's lithium ion now, but there's so many other avenues, because I've been reading a lot about this. So it's lithium ion now. Would that be for the next 15 years, or could you possibly go into other areas in the future?
In the future, the chemistry will continue to evolve, I'm sure. And there, in my slides later, we talk a little bit about how there has already been kind of a shift change in evolution of the chemistry that they used to use and what everyone's coalescing towards now, and even the auto manufacturers.
Sure.
So we'll get into that, I think, on slide 7 or 8. But for what we build for this project will be the same chemistry from beginning to end. So we will build one facility here. That facility will be in place, and we'll maintain and operate it through the life.
Okay.
So yeah, but in other future projects, the chemistry could change.
Sure.
So just to piggyback on Councilman Poznansky's question,
sir.
you can't, like, all of a sudden, if you find a better chemistry, right, 5 years down the road, you're not going to be swapping them out, right? You can't mix and match.
No, sir. We would be leaving, this would be the design for this facility, and we would go forward with it.
Well, Councilman, that's exactly where I was going, so I appreciate you brought that up.
Great. Any other questions on?
Just one thing, and then please continue. The batteries, do they last, is it 5 to 15 years in general, and the ones here would be in that category, 5 to 15 year range?
Yep. The batteries that we have, they offer 15 or 20 year warranties on them.
Okay.
And it depends on how much you use them. They're called throughput guarantees.
Okay.
So you're watching and understanding, it's kind of like a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So you can have it, but if you drive all your miles away the first year, you only get 1 year. So we watch carefully how much you're using the battery to stay under the warranty levels. And then we expect this project to last a full 15 years.
Thank you.
Great. Good questions. And anything else? There's a few more slides, I think, that'll key up some talking points here. So getting into prediction, and I'll just move through this quickly, but I think we went through this, but what this graph shows is 5 separate days, and the load in this town, I believe it was in 2023, and so it shows exactly those bars are basically your speedometer, or your how much load was going through your substation on those days. And so if you picture, and the red bar is actually what your load was during the peak hour. And so if you can picture your new 8 megawatt battery operating at 8,000 kilowatts in that hour, that number 11,500, I can't quite see it, but that number would go down to 3,000 from 11,000 if your battery was running at its nameplate value in that hour, and then on down the line. So we would predict the hours and run the battery and try to move those, predict the load forecast and operate during to reduce the bar during those hours. Any questions about how the project attacks the load? Okay, and then last on the project overview is just an updated economic example. I think the last time we talked a little bit about revenues. The price of the project had not been set. Through the competitive process, we were able to get the bid package, understand where you wanted the project, and our bid was annual fee of $497,000 a year. That's the top line. The transmission savings amount we talked that transmission is $180,000 per megawatt. If we are 80% accurate in reducing the peaks, meaning that we would get 4 out of every 5 peak events, and a 75-25 share, which is what was called for in our bid, then that would produce $864,000 of transmission savings. And then similarly in capacity, an 80% effectiveness, and in the Milltown's 75% share would be $480,000 of capacity savings, or a bill reduction. And the net of that is $847,000, and that's based on 2025 rates. So if the capacity and transmission rates are different next year, that number will be different. The top number is fixed for 15 years.
Joe, quick question. Was there performance guarantees? So if you don't make the 4 out of the 5, is there a penalty for not meeting the 4 out of the 5?
Yes, sir. The bid specs called for something called a minimum obligation, which our company signed up for when submitting our bid. And the minimum obligation means that to the extent we don't hit that, then we are financially obligated to make it as though we did hit that.
So you've got skin in the game, so to speak,
Yes,
on
sir.
the profit margin and also on the penalty if your failure is there.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
We're highly motivated to do very well on days like this, and also the little things that help you do well on days like this, like making sure the air conditioning units are running well and that the project's ready to go.
So you're essentially a partner with us.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's why we kept that in our name, On-Site Partners. That's one of my favorite parts of the name. So, so that's a recap of the things we talked about in September. And I just wanted to, set the floor for why we're doing the project and how it creates value and kind of the magnitude of the value that's created. So the last 2 slides are really on safety standards. The Milltown Battery Project shall be designed to meet the NFPA, National Fire Protection Association 855 standard, and the UL 9540 standard. That's the Underwriters Laboratory. Both consortiums really are set in place to produce best practices and share them. And the NFPA 855 is the standard for the installation of stationary storage systems. It's critical safety standard focused on minimizing the risks associated with these systems, particularly regarding fire and thermal runaway events. And similarly, UL 9540, UL is a global safety organization, and they've set forth a comprehensive safety standard for these systems. And it sets requirements not only in the design phase, but the construction, the testing, the ongoing operation, and it ensures that the systems are safe and reliable. So no test on this. I mean, you don't need to remember that, but the key point is the industry has made significant advancements, and really there are global safety standard institutes that are realizing how prevalent this technology is, and so they're creating best practices and coalescing around design standards that are making them safer and better for adoption. So that's the key takeaway for us. There are people that are set forth the best way to do this, and we are contractually obligated to use those, to follow those standards, both in our design and the construction, when we test them and commission them, and then throughout their operational life. So that's the big picture that was required in the bid specs, and it's included in every battery project that we design and operate.
I'd like to talk to you about something I was going to ask you later, but I'll ask you now, because you were talking about thermal runaway and possible fires. Are you familiar with the fire at Moss Landing, California?
I am.
January 16th?
I'm very familiar
And
with that.
I've looked at it. I'm not going to go into details, but what I've read about it was that they really couldn't put the fire up because of the contamination from all the chemicals, the air, land, sea, water. So I mean, they had I could read this. They had a very difficult time with that. But you also mentioned thermal runaway. Do you want? I've got more on it, but you want me to make a small statement about thermal runaway, or would you like to talk about it? Because I mean, I know about it, but I'm sure you know more than I do. Would you like to explain thermal runaway?
Sure. Basically, I think the best way to talk about what we've learned from Moss Landing and how the industry has learned from it, or some of the key differences, I guess, between a project like this and Moss Landing.
Sure.
That's different in a couple key ways, and I think I'll highlight those. One, that's a really massive project, a mega project, if you will. That project is, I did the math going into this, it's 187.5 times bigger than the project that you'll have here. So we're talking about 16 megawatt hours here versus 3,000 megawatt hours there. So it's a grid scale facility.
Well, I think they also handle like 1.4, 1.5 million homes, so that's a huge difference.
Yep. Another key difference there is that it was built inside, so that facility was actually built inside of an old power station.
Yeah.
That's a key difference that's very rarely done. It's not the standard any longer. And so that congregation of energy units and then those being indoors is created another challenge for them as far as how long it took for that energy to dissipate. Another really big one is the chemistry. So that was a NMC battery, nickel, manganese, cobalt, which is a lithium ion technology, but is different than the lithium iron phosphate technology that the industry has standardized now and that is being used in this project. The difference for those chemicals is that nickel, manganese, cobalt, the NMC, the Moss Landing technology, does have a lower limit at which it can start its thermal runaway. And when it does start that, it does actually produce more oxygen in the reaction, which feeds and propagates the fire. So I don't want to come off as that I'm a chemical expert or a fire, a combustion expert, but we have learned as an industry what is working better and what's creating greater safety. I know those details about it, but that is one of the reasons it just takes you further away from the point where there's danger by operating with a chemistry that is at a lower level of or that does not propagate at a lower level, and so it's just a best practice. So those are three big differences between the two projects that I think are important, and we're heeding. The other thing is that I think that project was designed in the late 2019 and then installed in 2020. Some of the standards that we're talking about today were not at the level that they are at today that are required of a project like this. So the NFPA 855 and the UL 9540 were previous versions are not even released.
Right.
And so those best practices just weren't, I'm not here to say that anyone did anything wrong on that one. I'm just saying the industry has learned and we have improved. And I think you're looking at a different situation here.
Well, your technology is it's gaining rapidly because that was 2020 when that was built, and it's like that's early technology.
Yeah.
As compared to now, but as far as fire containment, you're a lot more knowledgeable now than you were then, because I know that the fire departments could just watch it burn, and it went out and it came back on again, but all they could do was watch. And I'm sure that you have different methods of fire containment now, more advanced.
They are different, but there is a similarity in that the protocol is to not engage and to let the system do its thing. So we're not looking for the fire department to open and extinguish. That the systems have their own suppression system built into them. They're designed and spaced in such a way and ventilated in such a way that when these events, should they happen, they would fail in place without any interaction. And that's part of these standards, the 9540. It's not just how we design and operate it, but it's when it's time for an event, there's training that's required with local authorities to make sure they're understanding how to handle these things and what to do and what, most importantly, not to do.
Well, aren't you also you're training people to know in the programs so far in advance that they can stop the thermal runaway before they'll know it's coming, and they can start shutting down the systems before you get to that point?
Yeah, battery technologies has these early warnings now where you can see the temperatures increasing, and so then you can kind of stop up. And there's also best practices about not just charging all the way up and then discharging right away. So the cooling is very important to again keep you away from the temperatures where you would be closer to the red line, so to speak.
Sure. As far as the fire department, we have the one that's very close. What kind of measures would they have to take beforehand? Would they be prepared now to handle a situation like that, or special training is needed?
They would, I'm not sure if they are trained for that now, but they will certainly as part of our project. That's one of the requirements for the NFPA 855 is required on this project. And so part of our commissioning process is going to make sure that the alerts are what the authorities having jurisdiction in this region are, how they want to receive them, and follow the NFPA 855, and then the training so that they don't think they're doing something to help out and then exacerbating the situation.
And the UL code of 9540, I mean, Europe has typically been years ahead of us in all kinds of clean energy and safety for workers and people in general. And that UL code that is international, as I believe?
The Underwriters Laboratory is a global safety standard organization. I'm not as familiar with how it's been adopted in Europe.
I mean, it's the same UL that I see on electronic devices of all natures for the last
Yes.
decade or two.
Yes, it's
So
very important
it's
for
a big
customer adoption.
organization that obviously takes great care and, okay. Just making sure I was on the same page with it.
That's the same one.
Question, how long would it take to construct this?
The construction itself is about a 3 to 4 month process. The equipment lead times that we're expecting are, we believe the batteries could be here at the site before the end of the year, and so that would give us the time to construct next year.
So next year would be the construction site. I got another question. You said we get, is it the right 5 days we get on here? Or do we get more than 5 days for the peak demand?
The peaks could happen, their peaks are set on the hottest hour of the 5 hottest days of the year. And those could happen on 5 days, and both capacity and transmission could sit right over top of one another, or they could be completely separate, so you could have up to 10 days worth of events.
No, we don't. Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
So I just have a couple of questions. So you had a lot of knowledge about the fires in California, right? So I just have to ask this question. That
Yes,
wasn't
sir.
your project, right?
It was not, no. That's right.
Just what I expected. The other question that I have is, did you just say that the batteries can be up and running in 3 to 4 months? So this year, once the project is signed up and you get running?
No, sorry. The construction timeframe, I think the question was, how long does it take to construct them? So it takes 3 to 4 months of physical construction on the project. What drives the construction timeframe and the time between now and commercial operation is the delivery of the longest lead time equipment. In the past, we've seen that be switchgear, transformers, and even batteries. As we sit here today, the longest lead time is the batteries, and we expect that if an order was placed today, they would be here by the end of the year, and we have a line of sight to several battery offerings before the end of the year. So we feel good about that timeframe.
Is it possible that this project could be up and running before the next 26, where you could have something up and running so that you can measure the 5?
It is possible, and it is exactly what we're shooting for. Because of the magnitude of the savings involved, that is our construction plan, and we're going to do everything we can to hit it. The things we can do out of the gate here are, signing the contract, and then also the permitting process, the design process. We'll work closely with your engineer of record to examine our designs and make sure that they're in harmony with what they were expecting to see. But if we move through that as we expect to, and as we have on other projects, we feel really good about the lead time that we have to get the equipment on order, to get it here, and to get through some maybe unforeseen events like a rainy spring or something like that.
So you gave this sort of presentation last year, I want to say September, beginning of September or something, right? So I thought we were going to be like this. We're going to be up and moving, and that this would have been done already in 2025. So disappointed that didn't happen, because we sort of like lost a year, sort of. Like if you're saying, like if we took this, like ordered this August 1st, there's a very good possibility that this could be up and running by this time next year.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So I got a question on the savings. Would this be based on 5 top days or 10 top days, the 867? In other words, we would save this amount of money you're projecting on here. So that would double that and be $1.5 million, a little more than $1.5 million we could save.
Those rows there assume that we hit 80% of the peak hours. So
On
that's
5 days.
on the 10 days. The
10
second
days.
row is the 5 of the 5, the transmission days, and the third row is the capacity days.
So Councilman, PJM sets their rates based on their 5 days, their 5 high days.
Oh, yes.
If there's 10 days, there's 12 days, there's 20 days that are high days, but the 5 high days we're working to miss.
That's a good clarification. That the reason there's 2 events, the capacity is based on the entire PJM grid, which goes all the way from Chicago to the Atlantic Ocean. And then the transmission grid is based on the PSE&G zone, which is really localized to the New Jersey area.
Right.
Today was hot in both, and I'm not sure, but probably was one of the peak days in both of those. There are some times where it's not so hot in Chicago and Ohio and some of the western part of PJM, and so you'll have the capacity peak happen, or transmission peak happen because it's hot here, but the whole zone is not under as much stress. So that is there's 2 different grids that we're watching, and Fred was right. It's about the peak on that system and having Milltown off of the grid or using less during the system's peak.
So our peak may not be their peak, and their bills will be made on judgment of what is most for them.
What were you doing during their peak?
Okay.
Yep.
And the idea is not to be peaking at the same time.
Exactly.
Like today.
Because that's, you know, to reiterate, they set their rates based on their high peak days, and we don't want to be anywhere near that peak. Because then our rate is set by our 5 days, which are nowhere near theirs, and our savings is that difference between their high and our high. That's the buffer we're trying to avoid.
And then there's mutual benefit there. If you think about what you're trying to do is you're getting off the grid so the grid doesn't need to continue to be invested in so that it's there for 10 hours of the year. You're helping, respond to that demand. And it is a demand response program that we're operating in.
Joe, there are a lot of these projects in New Jersey.
2,
2?
you're looking at 1.
South River, right?
They're on
There's-
phase 2.
And phase 2 is up and running.
They're rapidly being adopted, though.
Excuse me, Joe.
Scary.
I believe that Mr. Carr said that we have to pay upfront money for a matter of months. Is that true?
I'm not aware of any.
I recall that, I believe you said,
Oh,
before that it was up and running, that we'd have to pay a certain amount of months before
Because we have to
the
agree
line.
the payments begin when we reach commercial operation. So once the battery is installed and operating and through its testing and it can perform its function and we can make sure that we can dispatch it, the payments don't begin until then. So we're not looking for
So I
any
guess
cash
the bill
upfront.
is generated prior to that, and we'll be sort of making payments once it starts up and running. I think it's kind of
Yes.
where it got transmitted wrong. The bill is created as you're building it, but our payments don't start until we're taking revenue and you're paying for
Our
it.
bill is already determined because they have an annual charge plus they have a
Right.
percentage of our savings that they're entitled to.
Right, but nothing's coming out of pocket, it's all coming out of up and running money.
Well,
No, some of it's coming out, we have an obligation to pay, it's gonna come out of the utility to pay their annual fee. And then there's the cost savings that we don't actually pay, it's a shared savings.
But you're not giving us money to like go buy the battery right
Right,
now or to
exactly,
pay a
right.
I
contractor.
don't mean that, but I'm saying, before everything's up and running and we're actually benefiting, are we paying for a particular set of months?
Yeah.
Okay, but if I can ask one thing, it's a 15-year plan? Can we pay at the end of that, or we have to pay, because my concern is paying for that, because a financial situation that's with, what's it, 60
No
something?
front anybody
60.
15 years worth of money. Just would make sense.
The contract is set up without that, so it is set up so that you'll begin payments when the project reaches commercial operation, and then the benefits will flow in. And so for 15 years of operation, you will get 15 years of benefit. There is a mismatch at the beginning.
Well, and I understand that. I'm just saying that I'd like to know that we can afford to pay the monthly fee until everything is set and we're actually reaping the benefits of it. Because I'm concerned about the financial aspect for us. I appreciate what you're doing, but I'm just looking at the mismatch until things start working out.
But mathematically, I guess you would have enough skin in the game that if something terrible did happen, you know you're gonna get your money eventually because the amount of revenue that it generates. would be lost is there, so they will get paid eventually. There is nothing that,
It's not the same, it's not the same thing that I'm saying.
it's not gonna get stopped because we missed a check. I'm sure that's not.
That's not where I'm going with this.
I'm not sure. Okay.
But that's why I was asking you. And you answered my question, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
It was,
I wasn't sure I
Simple,
understood the
simple.
question. That's fine.
Joe? Quick, how many times will the batteries be deployed in a season? Are they 10 times? Is it, I mean, your issue?
Kind of depends on the variability of the weather.
Okay.
Usually, these kind of events are less than like 25 days where you're really kind of at a point where you think, hey,
Right.
this could be one.
Right.
And what happens is you'll start to, you'll get to a point where you'll see a day and you'll say, it's like, it's already been hotter, than that.
Right.
So it's not getting as hot as some of the days you see. So it gets, I guess, a little easier as the
Right.
year goes on. But it's less than 100 hours and usually probably more like 25 days and 2 hours each time, so.
Right, but you're not trying to guess the 10 days. You're gonna use, just so they understand, I mean, it's not like we've got 5 of each and we're gonna try to line those up and that's it. You've got overlap so that if, if at the beginning of the season you were wrong and it gets really hot in August, you have the ability to make that up.
We continue to chase
Exactly.
until we've confirmed that we have a peak, or, we wouldn't waste a full tank basically sitting there going, I'm not sure. We would just go ahead and make sure that the system is less stressed.
Right, okay, thank you.
are these Tesla mega packs? Is that what they are?
We have used Tesla Mega Packs on our last, I believe, 3 projects. The exact make and model of what we'll purchase will be determined immediately upon receipt of the contract. We will be looking to source a project that we can get in.
So it may or may not be. I'm
may or
not
may
pushing
not
it
be.
has to be, I'm just, only because I read that, so.
It will be a tier 1 supplier with the lithium iron phosphate technology that adheres with the NFPA 855 and the UL 9540. In the past, the Tesla product has been winning the race for us, so to speak, in these competitive processes, but we are not, there are other great technology providers out there with similar warranties and safety guarantees, so.
I saw and also saw that it said this is one of the best as far as safety, the Tesla, so, thank you. You answered all my questions.
Oh, thank you.
Joe, I have a question. This actually may be for Mike and Lou. Do we have confirmed placement of this project?
Yeah, it's over there.
No, but I don't see it in any of the plans or anything. And nobody brought up so I just want to make sure you work with them and we have a confirmed placement
We
of where we're
have,
going to put it.
and there's a conceptual plan that they prepared. We have prepared actual construction drawings showing the location of the batteries, and obviously subject to their detailed design, which once your contract is signed, they'll begin, and that's when it'll all be fine-tuned.
Perfect.
In fact, the plans actually show where this set of batteries are going and a proposal for future availability if need be.
Excellent. So like I said, if we get and we approve it, there's already a place for it.
Yes.
That's it. I don't want to have to go through any other further steps in order
No.
to start the
Yeah,
project, so.
one of the things you'll approve is that land agreement that'll tell us exactly where we're allowed to build.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the items on your agenda for tonight is an ordinance on first reading. That is a lease, it's a ground lease, a portion of the substation in order to facilitate this project.
Good to know. Thank you.
And, since we want to talk about the ground release and I would be remiss, using Peter's term, to say that as part of our conversation for our first reading of the ordinance, I asked the council to consider, in my email, the second one, so that we can properly announce during the first reading. Thank you, Mayor. So everybody knows when the second reading is. We don't come by later and make a mistake.
Yep.
Should go.
Great questions. Good
Just
discussion.
one, are you
Yes, sir.
going back home tonight?
Yes.
I am not.
Because we have really good pizza in the area, just.
All right. I was just asking a good spot to go. Thank you. I'll be looking for some of that.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything else? No? Appreciate the time.
Excellent. Now is the time for public comment, limited to the resolutions on the agenda only. If you wish to speak, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Again, this is the public portion is limited to the comments only on the resolutions listed on the agenda at this time. There'll be a 5-minute time limit set forth by the rules of council. If someone raises their hand, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I'll close audience comments. Ordinance introduction, first reading. This ordinance introduction of ordinance 25-1569. There'll be no public input on this ordinance tonight. This introductory summary will be published as required by law, and second reading, public hearing, and final adoption will be considered on July 21st, 2025. Full copies of the ordinance will be posted on the Borough website, on the bulletin board at the municipal building, and available at no cost in the office of the municipal clerk between the hours of 8:30 a.m. 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Will the clerk please read ordinance 25-1569 by title?
Ordinance to fix and amend salaries and wages for Milltown Borough employees to include full-time apprentice linemen.
You have heard the reading of this ordinance. May I have a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Poznanski, seconded by Councilman Collins. Is there any conversation? Any questions, comments? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Manco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Payne? Aye. Councilman Poznanski?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. So this is what Mr. Carr was discussing. So I'd like to see if I could get everyone's input for a special meeting on July 7th at, I think we were trying to do 6 o'clock, was it, Mr. Vignolo, 5 o'clock?
That's Monday, July 7th.
Yeah, I think the thought was the earlier the better, so if the council could accommodate a 5 o'clock meeting, that way the people who need to stay here for the meeting don't need to stay longer on a day that we're having a special meeting.
Okay, so if I could just, if we could get if you're available for a meeting, we need at least 4 for the meeting, to do this as a second reading for the ordinance.
I will be out of town, but I'll call in.
Mr. Collins?
Yeah, I'll be here, Mr. Mayor.
I'm available.
Be here.
I'm here.
Okay. Mr. Vignolo?
Perfect. So it's just, I'll work with your clerk to put together a special meeting notice. When you take action on this, you can indicate that the second reading will be on July 7th at 5 p.m. here.
5 p.m., okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Introduction ordinance, first reading. This is an introduction of ordinance 25-1570. There will be no public input on this time of the ordinance tonight. There's an introductory summary will be published as required by law, and a second reading, public hearing, and final adoption will be considered on July 7th at 5 o'clock p.m. at the Borough Council chambers. Full copies of this ordinance will be posted on the Borough website, on the bulletin board at the municipal building, and available at no cost in the municipal clerk's office between the hours of 8:30 a.m. 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Will the clerk please read ordinance 25-1570 by title?
Ordinance of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, authorizing a 15-year lease to On-Site Partners for a portion of the property located at Block 258.01, Lot 10, for the Milltown Electric Battery Storage, Dispatch, and Maintenance Services Project.
May I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Hang on.
Just
Oh, I'm glad everybody's happy about this one.
one second, just looking at the title versus I think, and I will take the hit on this, the actual block is block 60, the lot is 5.062. Looks like when I put this together, I did a great job, but I didn't change the title. So the actual project site is block 60, lot 5.062. If we can identify that will be the amendment in the title, the substance of the ordinance remains the same.
I'll make a motion on the correction.
Thank you, I apologize.
Thank you. So we have do we have to approve it first before they can, or it can be?
You can move it as amended. It's
Okay.
fine. I've identified what the typographic, it's a scrivener's error, it's not a substantive error.
Okay.
The ordinance itself is correct.
Okay, so I have a motion made by Councilman Potter, seconded by Councilman Collins. Is there any comments? That's by the amended comments.
Correct.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Manco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Payne? Aye. Councilman Poznanski?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Motion carries, Mayor.
Thank you. Ordinance, public hearing, second reading. The following ordinance was introduced on July 9th, 2025, and published in accordance with the law. If any member of the public wishes to comment on this ordinance, they may do so after the reading. Will the clerk please read ordinance 25-1567 by title?
An ordinance amending Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-14, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets, to impose parking restrictions on various streets within the Borough of Milltown.
May I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Poznanski and seconded by Councilman Potter. Is there any comments? Seeing none, I would like to open it up to audience comments. I'll close audience comments. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Manco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Payne? Aye. Councilman Poznanski?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Motion carries, Mayor.
Thank you. Ordinance, public hearing, second reading. The following ordinance was introduced on June 9th, 2025, published in accordance with the law. If any member of the public wishes to comment on this ordinance, they may do so after reading. Will the clerk please read ordinance 25-1568?
Ordinance to fix and amend salaries and wages for Milltown Borough employees to include full-time confidential secretary.
May I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Is that you, Gary? Thank you. I have a motion made by Council President Zambrana, seconded by Councilman Poznanski. Is there any comments? All right. I'd like to open a public hearing. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Manco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Payne? Aye. Councilman Poznanski?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Authorizing payment of municipal obligations. Next on the agenda, we have authorizing payments of municipal obligations. Will the clerk please read Resolution 2025-223 by title?
Authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $2,816,437.64.
May I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion made by Council President Zambrana, seconded by Councilman Poznanski. Is there any comments? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Manco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Payne? Aye. Councilman Poznanski?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Abstain.
Consent agenda. A consent resolution has been prepared for the resolutions listed on the agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and having been reviewed by Borough Council will be enacted on in one motion. Any items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated on as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditures are supported by a certification of funds. If any member of the council wants any resolution acted upon individually, please give me the resolution number and it would be pulled from the consent resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to poll 2025-237 and 2025-239.
I don't want to pull, I just want to ask a question. Is that okay?
Beautiful. Poll it then.
So there is, on Resolution 2025-231, authorizing the liquor license renewal for the Golden Lion Inn. It does indicate that it's a pocket license, so
Yes.
that's just, that can continue to go on. I know that's been a thing.
It's an inactive license currently,
It's an inactive license and can continue to be an inactive license like that.
to a certain extent.
Do they-
The state has changed things as far as liquor licenses goes, and I think this falls into the quartile. If it is not activated, I think, I'm not sure on the day, I think it may be 2028. If it is not activated by 2028, it will be lost.
Wow, okay. Thank
Would-
you.
Did they have to notify us when they're gonna activate it, or?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. We thought they were opening the Golden Lion soon, but I guess not.
What if they sell it?
I believe they're looking to transfer, but I'm not sure.
Okay, thanks.
I also, I didn't want to pull a resolution, but I have two questions. On the credit card payment,
We have to, you
To
can't ask that
I
yet.
pulled it.
We have to first do the consent resolution.
We pulled 237.
That's one of the ones that Councilman Collins asked to be
so
pulled.
then I could ask a
You
question.
can ask a question after that's
During when
introduced.
it's pulled.
Okay,
2 minutes.
perfect. Yeah, and then the other one I actually too.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Will the clerk please
We're thinking the same.
read the
Okay,
consent?
just so I'm clear, only 237 and 239 have been pulled, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Okay. Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meetings upon certain conditions, and whereas each of the following resolutions to be presented before the Borough Council at its June 23rd, 2025 regular meeting appear to have the unanimous approval of all members of the Borough Council. Resolutions 2025-225 to 2025-236 and 230, Resolution 225-238, and Resolutions 225, 240, and 241. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown that each of the above listed resolutions be approved and adopted by the Borough Council with the same legal effect as though each was read in its entirety at the June 23rd, 2025 regular meeting and adopted by separate vote.
Thank you. You heard the resolution. May I have a approval in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Council President Zambrana, seconded by Councilman Potter. Is there any questions on just those resolutions?
Yes, Mr. No, the other ones, no.
Okay.
This one's pulled.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Menko?
Aye.
Councilwoman Payne?
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski?
Aye?
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Will the clerk please read Resolution 2025-237 by title?
Authorizing credit card payments for taxes and municipal utilities.
What's the pleasure of council?
Make the motion this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Potter, seconded by Council President Zambrana. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a couple questions. Well, I mean, I think we should pull this just to let the public and their residents know that they can use their charge card now for tax bills and their utility bills. I'm not sure how this is gonna work. The only thing I was wondering, Mr. Vinola, should we put like a clause in here in case the credit card fees go up on them, or is that what we're gonna charge them if they pay by the credit card?
Sir, we're not charging.
What's that?
We're not, the Borough of Milltown is not charging this fee. This is paid for by the third-party provider to the billing software hired by the borough. So when you go online to pay your bill online now, you can already do it by e-check, okay, or ACH debit right now as we speak. This adds the credit card payment. So if you were going to pay your bill online, okay,
Right.
using your credit card, a window pops up and says you'll be charged 2.5% of the total transaction by the third-party provider for the use of your credit card in this transaction. Then you, as the individual, say yes or no.
But
So
there's
the borough sees there's no money
no money
for the
charged.
borough.
Okay.
It's your individual choice. Now,
Okay.
if you're a cheap guy like me, I write a check I bring the check in, okay? Or I put a stamp on it. But 2.5%,
Yep.
you
No,
know,
you're
if you
not-
look at, you know, for an editorial comment, a lot of people complain that the borough charges 18% interest on delinquent accounts.
That's correct.
Do you know what your credit card charges? We're looking like we're practically giving the money away. Some of these credit cards charge you 36% interest. That's practically usury.
By the way, I got you here for the credit cards. What happens if they don't pay the credit card?
That's between them and the credit card, we get our money.
We get our money?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's a
That's
good
between
deal.
them and the credit card.
But
Just
they're-
like if you go to Home Depot and you buy a cooler and you don't pay you still have the cooler, that's between you and Home Depot or you and your credit card that you didn't pay the credit card debt. Home Depot's got the money, you've got the cooler, it's
So
between you and the bank.
they're not gonna use Zelle or anything, you know, I forget, what's the other payment process?
That's
they use?
between them and you
The
could,
company.
however you do it. All we're saying is,
These are the
is
two
that-
systems you can use.
yes,
And
if
the
you want
public's-
to use an ACH debit, it's $1.95.
Okay, so
If
the
you
public
wanna-
will be aware of that. I don't know if anybody knows about this or not.
Well, we haven't authorized it yet.
Oh, okay.
We can't tell them about it, and we haven't authorized it.
Hey,
That's-
Fred?
That's for you, sir.
Can I ask a question? Is
No.
there gonna be an auto pay, option or not? You're just gonna have to enter the information, it's not gonna store any data, it's just gonna,
No, you just put it in and just, every time you go in there, you
you've gotta
enter
fill it in
again. Yeah,
every
we're
single
not-
time? Okay,
No, we shouldn't be doing that.
okay.
So, one resident asked me, I'm not gonna mention his name, and he asked me if he could get points on his credit card if he paid the utility bill this way.
That's
So-
between you and your credit card.
Credit card.
So then you get to do the mathematical analysis. Okay, you're gonna put a $10,000 tax bill on there and pay 2.5% of 10,000, do the math in your head, and you're gonna, how many points are you gonna have to get to make up for that 2.5%?
Exactly. Some people
You
don't
better be
think like
given
that,
like
Fred.
9,000 points. You'll be behind the power curve, yes, sir. You'll not make enough money by doing it.
Exactly.
But that's up to you. Maybe it's a convenience.
It's a convenience.
You don't want to come to Borough Hall. It's okay. We don't take it personally. We just want your money. Pay on time.
Now, I have several residents ask me about that, so this is a
Yes,
good
sir.
system. Thanks, Fred.
No, and it's not credit card specific. You know, not only, you know, it's up to the third-party vendor, whether you're using your Visa card, your MasterCard, American Express, for all you dinosaurs out there with a Diners Club, you know.
Any questions, Pat?
Oh, yes, my question, similar to John's, was just about notification. How are we going to let residents know? And then also on the extension for the grace period for the third quarter taxes, I just don't remember, I know that's happened before.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we send that a notice with that tax bill so that people
Yes.
know that they have to? the
That'll be included in the tax bill notice.
Okay.
But I think the important part for people to understand is that though you get a grace period, if you fail to pay on time within that grace period, the interest charges go back to the day that you should have paid it in the first place. It's sort of like your MasterCard,
Yep.
like your credit card. You know, you can pay it, you know, if you're gonna be late, then they're gonna charge you from the day before.
Right. And so with the credit card payment, how will residents know that that's an option? Like, it'll
Well,
just
when
be
you go,
added?
it'll be added
to
to the
what current thing
portal.
is?
Correct. It'll be added to the portal, yes.
Okay, thanks.
So people who pay online now will just have another option, okay? I don't foresee people who come to Borough Hall and pay
Right.
now, personally, or write a check, or all of a sudden gonna wake up one morning and go, ooh, I could put this on my MasterCard. There'll be very few of those.
Well, with the 2.5% on a tax bill, whew, I'll be dropping my check off in person as I
Yes, ma'am.
normally
So,
do.
me too. And so, it's only online. What's important to understand, this is only online to pay. If you show up at the window and with your credit card, it's gonna be like the bagel place. Sorry, no credit card, man. You cash only. Because that's extremely burdensome. And if the council, if we were considering that, to have a payment window up at the tax collection for the convenience of the residents, I would, no. Not just no, but no. The fees are insane, because those fees would have to be paid by us.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my other question. If someone brings their credit card here, we are not doing that.
Don't take it.
Okay, thank you.
As long as we get our
Somebody's gonna
money,
show up with a
right,
credit
Fred?
card, right?
As long as the town gets the money, that's.
Cash is king, sir. Cash is king. So,
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Let's do 37.
Mr., ready?
Oh, you had a question?
I have a procedural question. I don't see council comments here, am I wrong?
Yes,
They're
sir, we've put them together.
What do you mean?
We're gonna have the reports and comments all in one time. You get a one shot.
Okay.
Make your point, forever hold your peace, like we're gonna get married.
I like that. That's it.
Ready for roll call, ma'am? Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Manco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Payne?
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski?
Aye?
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Will the clerk please read resolution number 2025-239 by title?
Authorizing the extension of the grace period of the third quarter taxes due on August 1st, 2025.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. May I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion to accept the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Collins, seconded by Councilman Potter. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I just want to reiterate what you already answered a question. It's the 25th of August, right, Fred?
Yes, sir.
You have to pay by the 25th. If you don't, you pay interest all the way back to the 10th or the 1st.
Correct.
The 1st. Yipes.
And it's usually the 12th they give you.
Yes.
Okay. You had a question on this one, Patty, you said?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Manco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Payne?
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski?
Aye?
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
So this is where it's a little different. So it's reports and comments from elected officials. It's been combined. Right, so Council President Zambrana?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only report that I have is for finance. At some point, Mr. Carr will get together with our CFO and finance at some point in July, depending on vacations and days off and stuff like that, to have like a small finance meeting just to see how we're doing mid-year, what's it look like, and, what's going to happen like the rest of the year. But, nothing to talk about right now. I just wanted to mention it. And that concludes my reports.
Thank you. Councilman Collins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have just a couple things from the library. I went to the library meeting on, I believe it was the 10th, and that the library is going to have a Jeep in the parade, and some of the things that were here already. But there is notary services available for free for Milltown residents from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., so at no charge to the residents of Milltown. So if anybody ever needs a notary and they can get it done, you can go down to the library. That would, I guess, I'm assuming that would be Monday to Friday. Now let me read the library schedule. The summer reading program is underway. Stop by the library to sign up and get details. Drop-in play Tuesday, June 24th and July 8th, 10:30 a.m. Book club Tuesday, June 24th at 6 p.m. Crochet for beginners. Is that that's crochet? Crochet for beginners Saturday, June 28th and July 12th at 11 a.m. Adult yoga Monday, June 30th and July 14th at 9:15 a.m. Registration required. 2:30 p.m. movie matinee Wednesday, July 2nd, The Graduate. July 9th, Roman holiday. July 16th, American Graffiti. Board meeting Tuesday, July 8th at 6:30 p.m. Open to the public. Sketch Club Wednesday, July 9th and July 16th at 1 p.m. Registration required. Midsummer Bingo Monday, July 14th at 6:30 p.m. Once Upon an Easel for Kids Tuesday, July 15th at 1 p.m. Registration required. Once Upon an Easel for Tweens Thursday, July 17th at 1 p.m. Registration required. Science Heroes Saturday, July 19th at 11 a.m. Registration required. Read to a Pooch Saturday, July 19th at 12:30 p.m. Adult Coloring Club Monday, July 21st at 6:30 p.m. Registration required. And the library will be closed on July 4th, of course. And I don't know if, I don't want to be stealing Councilman Poznanski. I mean, did you get this flyer, Gary?
What's that, John?
This for the new recycling bins? Did I got this down here, one of the days, it's about the new recycling bins. How do you have to keep the new recycling bins on August 1st to the curb?
I believe it starts August 11th.
Yeah. This is beginning of August 1st, I don't know. I just want to make sure everybody knows you got to put it to the curb, so it's very important. That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Mako?
So, actually, I just want to check with Fred, but is that, Fred Carr, is there, the red letters going out yet? Or have they been drafted on the, regarding?
So the letters are going out. There's a stack of them in the mailroom, and there are 652 of them. They have not hit the mailboxes yet. So if anybody gets a red letter out there in TV land, and you've already made your appointment, you're good to go.
All right.
When in doubt, call the scheduler. That's pretty simple. To reiterate, the letter's going to go out, council, and it says, we've been trying to contact you. I have seen some correspondence where people have indicated that, they're very busy and they're both working and they don't have time to do that, and we all understand that. And all we ask is that you call and do the best you can to make an appointment. You can't make an appointment to talk about your schedule or to find out if you're available and or not if you don't call the number and talk to the scheduling technician. He doesn't know what your schedule is. And even if you have a meter installed that was installed last year by Don or Ian or somebody for some other reason, we still have to check to see whether or not you have a lead pipe or a galvanized steel in your service line as part of the DEP requirements for our program, okay? And then the third part of that conversation is you look at your water line, you go, this is PVC. I can tell that because I'm a genius, and this is a brand new meter because they put it in last year. But if you don't have the sensor on it, we still need to make sure that there's a sensor on it so that everybody gets a brand new meter, a sensor, and that we've established whether or not you have a lead and or galvanized water line or not. And then the conversation will be sometime later on for the council, how we're going to replace these identified lead and or galvanized water lines, and then how we're going to pay for them. But that's one thing at a time. Right now, the letters are going out. You get your letter, call that number, make an appointment, and you're good to go.
Fred, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
If they do identify lead, are they letting the residents know that they have a lead line?
Absolutely. So there's a subsequent lead line letter coming out of construction, signed by our water guy. This year we sent him out. We know exactly who got the letter. My answer to construction, Beth, who did the last group, is that we establish a file, and we send you a letter that says, dear resident, you have a lead/galvanized cover. And in accordance with the DEP requirement, this has to be replaced, and it's your responsibility to do so. Okay? We recommend you call somebody and get it replaced, because then we talk about all the health issues associated with lead pipes. There's a whole DEP letter in a sheet. It's like a 3-page letter that goes out. Then we keep that in the file. You'll probably get a subsequent letter some later on down the line that reminds you as we move forward into the process. And eventually, the letters will stop. That'll stay in the block and lot file for that property. Now it comes time 10 years from now to sell the house. The new resident wants to know why you didn't do that, okay? It's coming out of the block. If they do their due diligence, and they'll say, well, why didn't you replace it? Well, I didn't want to spend the money. Well, if the new person who's buying the house knows you have a lead water service line in your house, he's not going to buy the house. He's like a small kid. I'm not buying this house. That he's going to walk away, or be part of that closing. Peter being a big closing guy, where he says, "Hey, no problem. I'll buy the house, but I'm taking 50 grand off the selling price to replace the lead line or whatever the number is." So one way or the other, the line will be replaced.
So Fred, just so we're clear, the smart meter replacement is not an optional
No,
thing.
sir. It is
It's a
mandatory. It
thing.
is absolutely mandatory.
Yeah.
At no cost to the residents.
Yeah.
I mean, this is free. The guy's going to come in, he's going to fix it, and it'll work for fine. It'll reset your meter in the utility collections. You'll have like a wonky bill, and then the rest of them will be cleaned up. You'll have one of these really strange bills, but it all comes out at the end. Yes, sir.
I know this is mandatory, but I know that the electric meters are probably coming at some point, and there are towns in New Jersey that it's an opt-in or an opt-out, and I'd like to think that can be part of the equation
For electric meters?
for the electric meters.
So that's a conversation we haven't had yet?
Right.
Okay, so in
I'm
the
just
opt-out,
early on that.
in the opt-out discussion from JCP&L, having done that myself, they charge you an extra like $25 a month.
Well, I understand.
And I would recommend that we don't allow the opt-out. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I'm not voting, but
Yeah.
why go through the effort of going out there and doing it when it comes automatically? The smart meters from the electric side, having done them in South River, do not collect any data other than you use electricity.
Well,
We
you know
don't,
the S in smart meters, do you know what that stands for?
smart.
Surveillance.
To those people, not to be flippant, I disagree, okay?
No, that is
All they do
in
is,
the
all they,
acronym. That is in the acronym.
yes, they know if the electricity's on and they know the electricity's off. Just like I know if the water's on or the water's off if I'm looking at the smart meters we're installing now, but we don't turn the water on and off. We don't know, we don't do any of that with the smart meters in South River or the smart meters we're not gonna turn the water on when you're not there. All we're doing is saying, yeah, you're using electricity and this is how much. That's all it gathers. It doesn't tell us what you're doing with the electricity, that you're running all the electrical appliances at 3 in the afternoon. It just says you're blowing.
What does the surveillance, I mean, it's not my acronym, it's their acronym, but what does the S stand for in surveillance? What does surveillance stand for?
It's watching your electrical usage. It's not watching your house, Councilman, okay? I mean, frankly, I don't think anybody in the utility department really cares what you're doing with the water on your smart meter. They just say, hey, you're using your water.
People can hack in too, though.
Everything's possible in the eyes of the Lord, they taught me 30 years ago when I was an instructor. But yeah, you could hack in, but they're not gonna, everybody has smart ideas, smart refrigerators. I mean, I have a brand new refrigerator. I didn't buy a smart one. I don't want my refrigerator talking to me. Okay, I have enough females in my house telling me what to do. I don't need the refrigerator telling me what to do.
Typically, if I'm in charge of the utilities committee, when that time comes, I will present it as no. Because the reason we're doing anything with remote and not having to send a guy is to not have to send a guy. So, but in the future years when that comes up, who knows what will be. But beyond that, moving on to the next section of utilities, I will mention that coming up within the next few months, we're going to kind of audit some of the processes internally that water and sewer have, and hopefully make some changes that might just be better for the town. But we got to wait for finance and those kind of things to come through and see how the next few months go. But as always, our water and sewer people and our electrical people are always working hard to keep this town running, and they do their best.
Okay, Councilwoman Payne, your report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a short report. We had a public safety meeting last week. Councilman Poznanski and Councilman Potter and I met with the chief of police, and we discussed many issues. Some of them have been brought up recently at meetings. We talked about crossing guards and departmental restructuring, parking issues, traffic flow, and I think we'll be seeing some of these items on future agendas. So it was a really good, productive discussion. And I also had a catch-up conversation with Chief Fama from the MFD, and I'm glad we had the discussion tonight on the battery pack, the battery project, because he had asked me about training, so it was good to hear that there will be specific training for the fire department. And that concludes my report, and I have no other comments.
Thank you. Councilman Poznanski?
Sure. I'm going to start with the Senior Center. During the month of June, we had two wonderful presentations. The first one was on June 9th, presented by the Milltown Public Works Director Ralph Jesnowski on the new Milltown Recycling Program, and the other was the AARP on Fraud Watch Network. Both presentations were very helpful and very informative. During the month of July, we have following activities planned. Wednesday, July 2nd, we have a trip to the Portuguese Fishermen at 11:30. Tuesday, July 8th, 11:15, bus trip to the Cracker Barrel. Tuesday, July 15th, 10:45, bus trip to the Shrimp Box in Point Pleasant. Wednesday, July 23rd, 11 a.m. bus trip to Ciro's in Monroe. Thursday, July 24th, 9:30 a.m. bus trip to the Amish Market. Monday, July 28th, 9:30, bus trip to Ollie's and Trader Joe's in Lawrenceville. The VNA nurse will be available for appointments on Tuesday, July 15th, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. The service is available for Milltown seniors free of charge each month. Please sign up on the bulletin board if you are interested. Now for the DPW report. DPW has done their part in setting up the pool to begin yet another summer enjoyment. A big thanks to Ralph Jasnowski and the dedicated DPW staff. The bike path, walking path construction, which began on June 9th, has really taken form. Many residents are enjoying it, and it has been well received. Please make use of this park area. It is yours to be inspired by, and I would also like to thank past council members for shepherding this valuable resource along. I would also like to thank CME for their help and guidance. And the recycling issue with the new containers, the use of the automatic side delivery hands-off is being addressed. And I actually thought it was going to be addressed tonight because Ralph had told me Friday that someone from the county would be here to take questions. And so I'm surprised that he's not. I didn't hear otherwise. Anyway, on the streets such as Colthau, a separate small truck and manual labor is in the discussion. What seems like a possible problem now will be worked out. There will be short-term growing pains. And I'm also planning, if it's needed, and it may be because the gentleman from the county did not come tonight, a meeting at the senior center. I'm trying to work a time, and hopefully there'll be question and answer time with Ralph Jasnowski, and I'm trying to talk to someone from the county also, if they could be there. That ends my reports, and I do have comments. If it's okay, I'd like to go over these. And to reference Ralph Cramden, I'm going to seem like a blabbermouth because I'm doing all this talking right now. I'm going to start off television communications, and I'd like to ask Councilman Collins some questions. And if you can answer at the end, I'd appreciate it. I know you're in charge of the Television Communications Committee. We had some technical glitches for a while, and they seem to be worked out for now. As you know, I visited different towns for input on their technical systems. Do you believe that we could upgrade and better serve the community? I'd like to thank Mr. Einbinder for his decades of service to the community and manning the cameras in that capacity. There may be easier and technically more superior ways to continue our mission of providing residents with viewership of important meetings. And also, Councilman Collins, is it possible and isn't it time to have the Board of Education meetings televised? This would be for transparency to the taxpayers, especially for the busy parents who are unable to attend the meetings. This would also help our council liaison to be more involved, informed, and be able to do her job more effectively. And also, this is for council, possible discussion at some point. If this is not able to be worked out, could we negotiate with the Board of Education to have their meetings on an alternate evening? This could enable our liaison to physically attend their meetings and ours. I also have, John, Councilman, would you like to
Yeah, I think the new camera system works well. I've talked to other officials at other towns, and they have the panoramic view so they can see who's talking when. Because I know a couple of the seniors were saying they're getting feel like whiplash because their heads were trying to follow the camera. They were getting dizzy following the camera, so it should work. I believe the Board of Ed meetings used to be televised, but since they moved it to Monday and we only have one guy behind the camera, he can't be in two places at once. So I think our Board of Ed liaison's here. I don't know. He might be able to, ask that question when he goes back to the Board of Ed if they would televise it. So, yeah, but I really think, and I believe we have money in the television program, right, Fred? We have $5,000 or something in there?
I'd have to look, sir. I don't have that, whether or not we
Okay,
have sufficient
we'll
money.
get back to that.
We have money in there, but to do the upgrades that we want to do, I don't know if we've met that bar. I mean,
And Councilman Poznanski, to your point, I appreciate your thoughts about, you know, having me, I'm the council liaison to the Board of Ed, being able to be present. I think that there needs to be better communication about agenda meetings and agenda items with regard to the Board of Ed and notification to the public. But the choice of having those meetings televised is left to the Board of Ed. You know, when I was a member of the Board of Ed, I remember it came up. And I was like, well, yeah, heck yeah. Like, you know, and then everybody voted no. So, you know, I think that it's worth a discussion.
Well, Councilman, I appreciate you saying that, because I know that you're the liaison, and when they're having a meeting, we're having a meeting here.
Right.
You don't necessarily catch the nuances that you would if you were watching,
Right.
or if you were able to attend the meetings.
Right.
And-
No,
and-
and I agree. And I think that, so I think overall that communication would be very helpful, and that maybe with the new superintendent, I can have that discussion with the council liaison for the board, you know, and have them consider a meeting on a different night. But they can only we can make a suggestion, but it's really up to them to make those changes.
Sure.
If I may, I'm not sure I fit in this, but as a parent, and I do interact with the school on a general basis, we get a million emails, every parent, about everything. But I think JK has some 400 students. Mathematically, that gives us a number of like 800 parents, all getting a million emails in a town of 8,000. Nobody else knows the school affects your property values. It is a big part of everybody's budget. As a senior, you're paying the same rate I am. And you don't know what goes on in a school. And maybe, just like a lot of the parents, myself included, you're not going to look at every email. But I think something should be done to encourage the school to update people about, and you know, legitimately, they sunk a couple $1 million into the roof over the last few years. They did a tuck pointing project. And I'm the only person who knows about that, or a couple of us, because we happen to be at a couple of those meetings. But to the rest of the town, I do think that there is the Board of Ed just is not forthcoming with information, whether it's just that they never thought it was a problem, or they don't think it's a necessary function or obligation. But I think that should be revisited. And there's a lot of conversation that I think should happen more publicly with the Board of Ed, between the parents, the council, and the public in general, because everybody's home values are predicated on a bunch of things involving a town. But the school's ratings and the school's performance is a big part of it, and that affects everybody. So you're all vested partners in the school's performance.
Councilman Pazeski, are you done with your comments?
No, I still have a little bit more. It's about the old DPW. I'm going to bring up the rehabilitation of the old DPW site again. I don't think some people understood my points at the last meeting. I do not see this as a fully functioning park as of yet. What I see is a vision, a starting point with the old, starting point out with the old. Stop treating this site as a junkyard. Every taxpayer and resident can easily see that this borough-owned land is uncared about. In plain sight, if we can't clean up and beautify this very visible area, will our taxpayers and citizens have faith that we'll do anything meaningful with all of their hard-earned tax dollars? I brought up the idea of a community center several times, just not there, not on that site. Councilman Manco had an idea last week of a community center at the site, and it's not a viable option. It's a wetlands area and it floods, and no construction can take place there. My idea for progress is to start from scratch, and that's my point. It's not necessarily to develop something now, but at least to clean the area, to clear the area, and have it ready, because everything in government goes very slowly, just so we have a starting point at some point. Just like at Albert Avenue Park, the bike and walking trail that's there, the path that's there now. It's great for the community, and people see where their tax dollars are being used for beautification, and it helps. And I have one last thing. This is an homage to the police and the military. First, I would like to thank all national state, and local law enforcement, particularly our dedicated Milltown Police Department. These well-trained professionals protect and serve all citizens leaving their families every day to protect yours. Please recognize and honor them for their selfless duty keeping our country safe. I would also like to honor our brave men and women serving in all the branches of the United States military, both here and abroad. Their training, love of fellow Americans, and their selflessness is unequaled. Though I did not have the honor to wear the uniform, I am eternally grateful, and I will do my part by praising and saluting the finest military in the world. And may God continue to bless our great country with the message of liberty and freedom for all. I will also honor the United States Army celebrating its 250th year of serving and protecting our citizens. On June 14th, 1775, the Continental Congress established the Continental Army, appointing George Washington as its commander-in-chief. This was a crucial step in the American Revolutionary War, as Washington took charge of the force composed of militias and volunteers. He then led the Continental Army throughout the war, ultimately securing victory against the British. Washington's leadership was instrumental in achieving American independence, and he later served as the first president of the United States. His legacy of greatness shines as bright as the United States military honoring last week the Army's 250th year celebrations. God bless America, and God bless each of us. Thank you. That concludes my statement.
Councilman, if I may, Mayor, so we did invite the county to talk about the trash cans. They were on the agenda till Friday. They had not responded back to Ralph at all about our invite to provide a conversation. So we took them off the agenda Friday afternoon. They did reply this morning, telling us that they could provide us 30 minutes but it's by Zoom only, and we don't do Zoom meetings, so it's really a non-invite, sir.
Okay.
Councilman Potter, your report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. From the Milltown Recreation Department, our spring musical theater group gave their end-of-season performance, Annie, on June 10th, and what an amazing show it was. We look forward to seeing their incredible talent in the fall. Albert Avenue Camp kicks off Monday, June 30th. We've reached our maximum capacity with 176 campers registered for the season. We're looking forward to a fantastic summer filled with exciting trips, ice cream days, and carnival fun. The Milltown Borough Pool officially opened on Saturday, June 14th. While the weather wasn't quite what we hoped for an opening weekend, we're looking forward to plenty of hot, sunny days ahead, like today. And with this week's heat wave, now it's the perfect time to jump on the Community Pass. Grab your seasonal membership, cool off, and make the most of the summer at the pool. And we've also received news that due to the extreme heat, the pool will be open for an extra hour, actually an extra 35 minutes. So I don't know if we're gonna make it, but it will be open. We're excited to have an amazing vendor at the pool this season, offering a variety of delicious food. Be sure to stop by and say hello to Lisa and her wonderful staff. Don't forget to register for the awesome trips planned for your camper at Albert Avenue Camp. Trip registration is still open and the deadline is June 26th. The Adult Co-ed Softball League will be holding its championship game on Thursday, June 26th at Michelin Field, with first pitch at 7:45. And there's still time to register for Splash Squad at the Borough Pool. Sign up now on Community Pass. Summer adult yoga and beach volleyball registration is now open. Be sure to sign up on Community Pass. Don't miss your chance to book a pool party at the Milltown Borough Pool. Please reach out to the Recreation Department to check available dates. Registration is now open for our first swim lessons at the Borough Pool, running from July 14th to July 25th, Monday through Friday only. Register on Community Pass. Register now for youth tennis, musical theater mini camps, and a multi-sports camp. Check Community Pass for dates, locations, and full details. The basketball clinics with our very own Sandy Molnowski were a huge hit. Clinics were offered for various age groups with different dates and times before school let out, and we're hoping to hold additional clinics in early August. Please keep an eye out for updates. All future registrations will be available on Community Pass. Planning a family picnic, graduation, or birthday celebration? Enjoy the outdoors at Albert Avenue Park. Contact the Recreation Department to reserve your date. Once confirmed, complete the fillable application and email it to kmcgrath@milltownborough.com. And please be sure to visit our recreation webpage to familiarize yourself with upcoming programs and help us continue to make Milltown Recreation a community in motion. From the Planning Board, our next meeting is scheduled for July 9th. And from the Milltown 4th of July organization, with 11 days to go until the big day, the Milltown 4th of July organization extends its heartfelt thanks to everyone for their continued support. A special thank you to the dedicated volunteers to help create and deliver almost 3,000 of these flyers to our residents over the past couple weeks. Your efforts are truly appreciated. Don't miss out on our exciting Super 50/50 raffle, with the winning tickets to be drawn live on the main stage at night on July 4th. Winners need not be present, and limited tickets are still available but are selling quickly. Commemorative merchandise is now available. Pick up your official Milltown 4th of July shirts and mugs at the following local businesses: Milltown Convenience, Rescued by Lacey, Bagel Express, and Mike's Country Market. Join us at Maria's this Tuesday and Wednesday for our final Dine to Donate event before this year's 4th of July celebration. A portion of every sale will go directly towards supporting the event, so come and enjoy a great meal while helping make this year's celebration a success. Interested in volunteering or participating in the parade? We'd love to have you involved. Please email us at milltown4th@gmail.com by Friday, June 27th to sign up. Please be sure to sign up for our Patriotic House and/or Patriotic Bike Contest. For more details, please visit our website or follow us on Facebook and Instagram for the latest updates and announcements. We can't wait to celebrate the 100th anniversary of this beloved Milltown tradition with all of you on July 4th. Join us for a day filled with community pride, patriotic spirit, and unforgettable memories. And Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to, for my comments, I'd also like to thank CME, piggybacking on Councilman Posnanski's. The bike path is a huge success and greatly appreciated all getting done before Albert Avenue Park Camp started at the end of the month. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, that's all my reports and comments.
Thank you. Borough Attorney Peter Vignola,
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
CME, Mike McClellan, or Lou?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 items to report tonight. First, an update on the water meter project. As of this morning, 1,773 meters have been replaced, which equates to about 65% of the total. 22 others are complete and are being validated. 52 are incomplete. 194 are currently scheduled, and 551 replacements are not yet scheduled. Secondly, as you heard tonight, the Albert Avenue Park path has been constructed. Just want to report that the contractor is finishing up storm sewer improvements and restoration work, and we will be meeting with Mr. Jazanowski to talk about where we can put some replacement trees for the ones that have been removed. And that concludes the report, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. McClellan? Nope. Mr. Carr?
I've said enough, thank you, sir.
Ms. McCarthy?
Nothing from me either, sir.
Okay. Is there any old business to bring before council?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Mayor. I was thinking about what Councilman Poznanski said and then what Councilman Manko was commenting on. And it really, not televising the Board of Ed, meetings really puts the single parent family at a disadvantage because they can't, bring the kid down with them or miss, the homework. So it really puts them at a disadvantage for the system. So it is a good idea that we televise the Board of Ed. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. And that's all on old business, Mr. Mayor. We have a couple things under new business. So.
Especially, we're responsible for the budget of the Board of Ed, and I know it would be helpful to.
No, we're not responsible for the budget at all. Zero.
We're responsible for allowing the money to go to them.
No, you don't allow the money. You
don't
collect
allow
the
any
money
money.
and give them the money that they are entitled to get.
But it's Milltown taxpayer money.
It is Milltown taxpayer money, and it's money that they are entitled to have as the Board of Education. So just
Correct.
the collector, the tax collector collects the money and then distributes it to the Board of Education as required by law. The Borough Council has no say over whether or not the Board of Ed were to get its money, just so we all are on the same page.
I stand corrected. I understand that, but the thing is, it's Milltown taxpayer money. and the people deserve to know how their money is spent.
Then they should take that up with the Board of Education.
Correct.
Right, and Gary, to your point, that at the budget meeting for the Board of Ed, that wasn't necessarily publicized or, extremely transparent in any manner. Dave and I attended that meeting. That's where parents have to come out and the public has to come out to ask questions about the budget, because they determine the budget and how much money we collect and give to them. They do that. We have nothing to do with that.
I understand. I
Yeah.
went to the budget meeting last year, and what I was disappointed is there were very few parents there.
Yes.
I mean, very few.
Very few people knew about it.
Yeah.
And that's a real shame,
Yes.
right? And so, when when Councilman Potter and I were there, we both spoke up, on behalf of, the township and the public. And, I have to say that I didn't get a warm, fuzzy feeling from the meeting. I think that a lot of things have to change. And I agree with you, and Frank, Councilman Manco, that things have to change. And I'm hoping with new leadership that will happen.
And realistically, they public notice their meetings, much like we do to these packed houses that we consistently see. And whenever we vote on something that we talk about, we tend to think that it's important and people listen. And then they are completely caught off guard when later on they see it and they go, when did that happen? Well, that happened when an old movie, not that old, but while you were sleeping. And, there's very few people that go to those Board of Ed meetings. The budget meetings are posted. Everything's posted. And I went to them consistently for a while when I was on the Board of Ed, the liaison, and you don't see the parents. And they can change their process. Can we change humanity, people? That is a different question. And, getting somebody angry, that always seems to help.
Well, and to your point, Councilman Minko, televising the meetings would be a major improvement, because then people could either watch it live or watch the rerun, like they do with our council meetings, and that's how people know things. But the Board of Ed chooses not to do that, disappointingly. I hope that changes in the future.
Councilman, I hope so also, because your experience on being on the Board of Ed and being here now, and especially if you could have an inside look to either watch the meetings or go to the meetings, I think that would be you'd be a great asset.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I appreciate your position.
Yeah, so either televising them or changing the date, having that conversation when, when both bodies can, I think that would be a great next step. Yep. Thank you.
Does any member of council have any new business to bring before us?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a couple things. I've also received a lot of positive response for the bike path. My congratulations and for doing a good job. Seeing me did a nice job on that. I'm really impressed by how many people are using it, especially kids. I also spoke to Gov Deals, and they said they can go down to the Public Works building Friday if we like them to go. They said that they don't care about the condition. They said it's the government, and they've encountered every possible thing, how would you say, situation with government property, so that they'll take it as is. He said the faster we get it on the market, the more valuable it is. So do I need council approval for that, or can Councilman Poznanski do that alone?
What are you talking about? What are we selling? What are we doing?
Bring
So-
Gov Deals, the equipment in the building.
I can answer that before Peter strokes out.
Thank you.
Council needs to pass a resolution enumerating the specific items of equipment that the police, I believe, are working on, okay? To then put it on Gov Deals or BidNet or whatever. We've done that last year, okay?
Right.
But we just can't, Gov Deals just can't show up with a trailer, hook it up and drive away.
No, I wasn't talking about, I was talking about the contents of the building, Fred.
Whatever. No piece of municipal property can be sold without consent of the governing body.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to know.
How am I doing?
Can he take a look at it, Fred?
Oh, absolutely. You can look at it. Lots of people.
Because he could tell us.
Last year, I will say last year, there were any of a number of people who came down and looked at the building. To reiterate, be it the Schwendeman cabin or the park next door, the mayor alluded to Progress Park. Somebody needs to come up with goals and objectives. I need you to take down the building. I need you to cap the sewer lines. I need you to make it all smooth so that bidders can go out and bid on a project, or carry it all away, or remediate the site, or choose a topic of your choice. But we cannot go out for bid and get realistic work done with nebulousness.
No, I mean, it's not work, it's the contents of that building, there's lockers.
Whatever
there's equipment.
whatever it is, sir.
But he can come down and look at it then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But whatever it is, we need to list it or decide what we want to do.
I've been trying to bring notice to the old DPW, which is the last meeting and this meeting, because I know it's not me who decides, but it's the 6 people here, but I'm trying to build interest, if it's possible, to do something there.
Sir, yes. And for 18 months that I've been sitting here, I've been saying, until you come up with a plan, we can't execute it. You have to come up with an idea. I would say something like form a subcommittee, but all that's going to be is a kiss of death.
They died.
Yeah, but you can't put your foot in the shoe until you take out the contents, Fred, so we gotta get the contents out of there.
Totally not disagreeing.
And I'd just like to say, happy 4th of July, everybody, and I hope we all have good weather for the parade and everybody stays safe, and that's all I have.
If I may, just 4 seconds of, CME always does a great job, I think. We do appreciate the park, and a lot of people have mentioned that. And I just want to say, Peter, you do good work too, man. We like you, and all your stuff has been good and timely, and no one said that. So just wanted to make sure you don't feel left out. Thank you.
Thank goodness. That's why nobody says it a day.
So, Mr. Vignola, I have a quick question, because I know
no.
we had the conversation about a resolution for just sending a letter to the county. Is that something we could do verbally, just so we could send a letter? Because I think there's a deadline for that, for the Riders Lane Safe Zero.
Forget what it's, the county has a program that they're trying to approach, I think, the federal government regarding.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a letter of support from the borough regarding their program. We do have a special meeting on the 7th, and we could certainly put it on for that special meeting if you would like to have a resolution, and that way the council could have a better understanding of the ask that they have, as opposed to what you and I are going to remember from the letter and try to explain to them right now after an hour and 40 minutes of council meeting.
Yeah.
So if you'd like, I can put that together and we can have it ready for the 7th.
Okay, yeah, it's about the zero vision for the county.
It's a county safety program regarding, I think it's Riders Lane, and so I'll spell all that out and I can give you a proposed resolution, and you guys can do whatever you want with it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Of course, sir.
All right. Open to the public. Public comment portion of the meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention or concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comments until the speaker is finished. It should be further noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. Please state your name and address for the record when you come to the podium. Just a reminder, under the rules of council, individuals wishing to speak during the public input part of the meeting shall be limited to 5 minutes and may, after other speakers have finished, be allowed to speak for a second 5-minute period. If someone raises their hand to the microphone, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Hello, Debbie Miller, 92 Ford Avenue. I am the notary at the library for the community, and I just want to let everybody know that it is a free service to the Milltown residents, And if you live outside of Milltown, it's $2.50 for up to 3 signatures. Though it is important, because not everybody knows this, that when you bring your document, don't sign it until you go to any notary, because they are witnessing your signature. And if you can bring a photo ID, like a driver's license. The other thing I want to say is I want to commend Water Management and VPO, Chris especially. They came to our house and provided services and changed our meter, and it ended up going smoothly. So thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Evening, Lee Weisenberger, 99 JFK Drive. I was going to start with a sequence, but some interesting information came out tonight, and so we're going to adjust a little bit here. Mr. Carr just mentioned that if we're going to get rid of a piece of property, basically, it has to go through council, right? I assume the reverse is if we're going to attain a piece of property, the council would have to pass a resolution to purchase.
Well, it would always have to go through a resolution. Council would have to approve it for any disposal or purchase.
Even if it was given to the town, council would still have to approve that?
Typically, you're going to accept a donated piece of property.
By
You'd
resolution.
want to know what it was before you took it.
Yeah.
So we would have a record of that and a deed?
Unless the records were lost when there was the catastrophic loss at Borough Hall in the 1990s. So, yes,
Well, even if there was loss, that should have been sent to the county,
presumably, yes.
the copy. I bring that up, once again, block 86011, Mill Pond. Show me some documentation. Because I'm really curious now, and I'll ask it tonight. Does anybody in this room disagree that Mr. Berger owns the mill, pond, the dam, and the trestle?
Have you contacted the tax assessor here?
Oh, yeah.
Have
I've
you
contacted a
the
lot of
county?
people.
The county?
County
Assessor?
too. And you know what, you want to know the crazy part about that? The state, the county, everybody comes back to here. And that makes sense.
They have no answers for you?
No, the problem started here. Whoever put those numbers on the map, where they ever came from, we're probably never going to know. But the problem is, if there was a deed, there was a document or a record, even if we lost it, it should have gone to the county. County has nothing, because it doesn't exist. People might not understand this. I'll explain it tonight, because this is a planning board issue too. CME. Fort Avenue, that property now, that redevelopment, they're only talking about the land. That property now, that property goes under the water. Right now, that's what exists. Never been separated, never been subdivided. That's why that number never should have shown up on the tax maps. And it doesn't show up on the old tax maps. Now, what happened in the past or how that, we're probably never going to know. But we can correct it and make it right. Because right now, like I said, we're on the hook. Because if Mr. Berger wanted to take that to court now, like I said, it would be us, New Brunswick, and, yeah, it's going to be us, New Brunswick, and whoever, but it's going to end up a three-way tie, okay? It's Berger, us, and New Brunswick Water, basically, New Brunswick. And like I said, the DEP, I've been in touch with them a long time. They said, yeah, these cases will go to court, and what happens is, nobody's going to take ownership. Why would Mr. Berger take ownership now? 2 other people own it. I just lost 2/3 of my problem. So everybody's going to pay, and you're going to pay forever. You're going to pay for the maintenance, replacement of that dam, everything associated with it, the dredging, everything. That's what I said. This has got to be resolved, but we can do it here. We don't need anybody else. Send those documents. I've got the name, John Foster from the DEP. Send those title searches to him. Send a note to him. Let them handle it. See what happens. Worst that going to come out of it, they're going to come back and say, well, maybe we can't change it. But we got to do something. We just can't keep letting this go. So, and interestingly enough tonight, Mr. Vanola, for the substation, that lot and block was wrong, and you caught it and corrected it,
Yes, sir?
right? This is probably what's happened in the past. And it just so happens I have the deed for Mill Pond Park. This is wrong on the tax assessor's list too. This is 1981, John Gullia, has nothing to do with it. The second one that comes out, Mr. Gullia Milltown took Gullia to court over the value of that property for back taxes. It took several years before they came to a price. The county commissioners came out with the price, $360,000. And they're saying this is the deed, but I don't believe it. I think there's got to be more to it. But once again, where that record is or who's got it, we should have had a deed out of that. Like I said, whether we have a deed or not, I don't know. But this has to be corrected too. But the problem with this, once again, with the tax assessor's office, who makes this change? This is what I'm running into with everything. You need some kind of official or somebody, not just a layman, who can make this change. You got to present some kind of paperwork. So I can give you these two, because like I said, this is what's on the tax assessor's record and in the tax collector's office. It's wrong. So, and like I said, there's more to this story. People here might not know it, but back there in '81 when this mess started, Brook Drive was starting, and apparently somebody put the wrong names on the Green Acre grant. They crisscrossed them and stuff. The state got involved, and it took several years to resolve it, and I'm hoping I can get a copy of that at some point. But once again, it's a simple little mistake, and it creates havoc. So, you know.
I got a question, or I may have some comments. There used to be, I think my uncle used to own, there's a White House that used to be an apartment building, and there was a house behind that, where the DPW building is. There was a white single-family house. If you look on the old deed for that, you might find something on one of the older deeds that tells you who owns it. It's worth exploring.
Owning what, Mill Pond Park?
No, the railroad tracks.
Well, we know who
Trust-
owns that stuff. That's an easy one,
Yeah, the Mill Pond Park is Milltown's, right? I would assume, right?
right?
To the water, and then New Brunswick owns the water, but
They have water rights, that's all they have.
Berger owns the property underneath there.
Right. He owns that, he owns the dam, and he owns the trestle. And he owns Lawrence Brook below the dam, the land under the water. It's in the deeds.
And he owns the trestle in the right of way next to the,
Yep, in fact,
Post
you
office.
bring that up tonight. I brought this with tonight, I should have got more copies here. But this came from the Historical Society. This is 3 photos from 1905, 1907, which I put together because they were taken in sequence out just a little bit, showing that property back in that time. I can pass it around. And
no, thank you.
and opposite that photo is the trolley barn. That's where that photo was taken.
I don't remember that.
Excuse me, Lee?
Wow.
I'd like to ask you, your goal and your focus of ownership, do you see something in the long run that's going to cost Milltown taxpayers?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a part of this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that's why because I know you're very passionate about this, and I really want to know your goal, your ultimate goal. in
I
this.
said, I don't want the taxpayers on the hook for any of this.
Right.
For the dredging,
Right,
for that dam, the dam's gotta be repaired, trestle's gotta be taken out, and so forth. When you see this photo, this is a very interesting photo, got a lot of stuff in there. Look real close when you see this, of the building that was there. Because the property is about 6 inches higher than Lawrence Brook at that point. And that goes all the way back behind the drugstore. Now, in my research, once again, looking up all kinds of crazy things, I came across the 1966 deed from Lukács. Milltown went to him to get an easement to put 3 telephone poles on his property, transmission lines to go across. They asked Mr. Lukacs, what do you want for that? I want to fill in my property. His property goes way back and follows the brook. He wanted to raise that property 3 feet at the level of the brook and taper it all the way up to the front, which is what he did. They agreed. And that started a lot of problems. Because if you look at that photo and you see how much, that was all swamp back there, marshland. That's where the water went. So like I said, Milltown created its own problem when it did that. So, like I said, that's just history. Can't do much about it now, so, like I said. But I do have some of the stuff from Bonafide here too, but that's okay too. I'm not worried about that one. I do have a question for Mike though.
I'm gonna cut you off. I wanna,
Okay, fine. Yeah, if anybody else wants to talk, I'm good.
okay? Another 5 minutes.
Nope, okay. Once again, wording, Mike, what's a verified tax map mean?
I believe when the state reviews the map and certifies it, that's what it means.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
Yeah, my contact with them is, and once again, Mr. Carr, last week, I appreciate what he said, with DEP. All these agencies, where do you think they're getting the data from? They just look at our records here, our tax maps, or our tax office, and they look at a deed and a number or whatever, and they figure that's for real. But mistakes are made. And so, like I said, they just, verified tax map, it practically means nothing. You know? So, that's what I'm saying. That number on the tax map, 8601, anybody could have put it on there. So, like I said, I'm just trying to bring this out, but, like I said, we need to fix the thing with the pond as quickly as possible. And I'm still not sure, like I said, we can go to the DEP, we can send them the documents, let them look at it. But once again, nothing else exists. We have to make that change here somehow. And I don't know legally who's got to do what, or contact Mr. Berger outright again. And, hey, look, here's the documents, you own it, he knows it, he's got the same deed, and find out where we stand. Because then it's gonna go down the dark road if not. Because like I said, if this gets, just more screwed up, it's just gonna cost more money, one way or the other. So, that's it for tonight, appreciate it.
I appreciate that you're doing this, because if not for you, this subject would never be discussed.
Well, I'll tell you, if it doesn't get settled here, there's taxpayers in this town will take action, believe me. So if it comes to that, we'll do it. But I'd rather go this route yet and see if we can't, like I said, send out a letter or two and see what happens. Okay? Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to close audience comments. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Council President Zambrana, seconded by Councilman Potter. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.